Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to another Minecraft video. Today I'm going to be actually going over a plot that I had reviewed on the Raven.org server not too long ago. I actually had made a video throughout while I was reviewing it, but it turned out to be way too long, so I'm hoping that this won't turn out so long and that we can just go through it and see all that I had done, and hopefully it'll give you guys some good ideas. Now, this is a plot by Vaun, and he really wanted me to make a video of it, so that's what I did, and in the process, I hope it really helps somebody. Honestly, I think he's just not going to build on this plot anymore. I think he's going to build over there. But in any case, this just kind of shows you how I like to review plots, as the two previous videos in this playlist, and you can check those out also. Just go to my reviewing playlist. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started, and let's check out what there is. So starting out, let's go ahead and look at this really quick. Now, what this is covering is this beacon here. This is some sort of beacon. I'm not sure what its purpose is, but it's at the gate of the city. Or at the town, whatever this is that is built here, and this is where it's basically the main entrance. And also, something I really want to touch on is, for a main entrance, this is really small. Plus, there's no gate, so that is a big thing that I think that he should look at, because if you're having a main gate to a city or a town or just anything in general, you want to try to make sure that that gate is well defended, and you know, there's a gate. But with that in mind, let's just see what I put here. The roof to this beacon is a bit off-putting. Try revising the roof and adding more detail and features to it. Plain cobble is a bit bland and could use improvement. Yes, I think that this is a really kind of plain thing. Textures plays a big role in the detailing of your plot, and just plain cobble on the roof, I just don't see that working. And also the supports are a bit off. I think that he could have worked on that a good bit. Alright, and this is kind of the same thing on this roof. As you can see, the cobble is along this roof. I feel that he could have done that better. Try not using cobble as a roofing material. Try replacing with another texture. Cobble blends in and causes issues, plus not realistic. As you can see, he uses cobble over here. Cobble's for the chimney. And basically, cobble, if you use it like this, you know, I personally don't like cobble being used as roofing materials in general, but if you're going to use it like that, I would sincerely suggest you don't use it anywhere else in the plot, because that texture sort of, well, that's kind of misconstrues my meaning, but still, I just think that this should not be used on roofs, because cobble in the Conquest Resource Pack, for me, does not work. It's not realistic, and it doesn't work aesthetically. So we're gonna move on to the next one. What I really want to touch on is his roofs are really flat. There's really no depth to them on the top, and they're all kind of the same height. You know, this one's a little different height, but they're all kind of the same height, and they're all flat. And that is something that really needs to be revised, because flat roofs are a no-no. We like to see something that is unique, and flat is not one of the unique types that we like to see. Plus the style here, it's just, I feel that he could work on this a good bit more, especially on an interior. You know, he has some good interiors, and that's a good thing. But for the most part, wait, is there anything up here? No. And see, this is wasted space up here. He should have used this as well. He should have just knocked all of this out and then used this for something up there. I don't know, but that could have been used for something. But he didn't, and that's just how it is. So, oh well, but we can still critique it and still find ways. Also, the floor here, that is really interesting. Haven't seen that done before. I don't think that this is a good texture for floor material. It looks more wet, and it looks like solid rock. I don't see how this can be used as a floor material, but I guess it's creative. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that this wet stone is a good floor material? Let me know in the comments. I would love to know. Toll house, single fare, 2 septums. So we come in here, please pay your toll inside. This is pretty good. However, I would like to see more dirt and gravel floors. I know that's pretty general. For ground floors, they would really like to see dirt and gravel floors. It looks a whole lot better, I think. And also it's more realistic because ground floors in the medieval times were typically dirt and gravel, maybe a mixture of wood in some places, depending on wealth. So we're gonna go ahead and see. Anyway, style. We were back to style. The chosen style could use a good bit of revising. The flat areas are a bit plain and could use some revising. Try steeping the roof more and maybe adding more features. So when I say features, maybe add like a little tower on it, little gables, little places where like little windows can come out, etc. You know, that'd be some interesting things to add on. There's a lot of possibilities. Also for this creek down here, the canal through the middle of the city, it will be really interesting to see some detail in there. I know he put these on, and I think he has a better foliage mod, and that's why he does this specifically, but still that's not enough. There could be a lot more in here. And so what I said is there could be a lot more details on the creek bed. Try adding in some garbage, reeds on the bank, or creek weeds, etc. Also, this bridge here, having the wood platform through the middle, looks really odd. Having the, you know, a stone bridge would be stone. There would be stone underneath that, and this would be dirt and gravel. I don't know of any instances where this would be wood. If you guys know of an instance where a stone bridge would be made out of wood across it, let me know. But this is an older technique, I guess, of Minecraft, and that's kind of what we're trying to move on from, is trying to go into the new techniques, which is what I consider pretty much a conquest technique, is trying to go for the more realistic kind of thing. And he does the same thing with his wall tops. You know, the wall tops he all has as wood, and that's something that I really want him to try to steer from, but we'll catch on that later. We don't want to really get on that now, but maybe try revising the bridge a bit. The oak street bit seems off and could use some revising. Try using cobble or a mix of dirt and gravel and cover the bottom. So that means that this should be covered under here, and then this would be either cobble or dirt or something. I think in general he could revise this bridge to make it more straight and not like straight and then curved. I think it could be just like a solid curve. So moving on, there is this over here, and this is touching on the streets. As you can see, the streets are very green. There's lots of it's more of a, like here it's not so bad, but when we're going through it, it's all really green, and that just doesn't work very well. Reason being is streets would be heavily trodden, especially streets like this, especially this being the main street. And also this bridge should be bigger because it's main street, and that gate should be bigger because it's main street. But anyway, there's a lot of activity going on here, and it would be very muddy because there would be a lot of stagnant water. There would be a lot of moisture and people walking back and forth, and it would just trod down all of this grass, all of the greenery, and this would all be mud and gravel. For those of you that work on this kind of stuff, be sure to keep that in mind, because when you're making your roads, it's very important to try to keep that dirty, trodden look. Now, say if it's out in the countryside or something of that sort, something that isn't so traveled on, but more or less kind of like a maybe a thoroughfare, maybe something that's just kind of there just to have a path. Having more of the green in it is perfectly fine. But anyway, your streets are in general are very green and seem not used. I suggest adding more dirt gravel mixture to indicate a more used atmosphere, as townfolk would be walking a lot. So that's something I really wanted him to look at. Now, there's something about this tower that really kind of, it doesn't work for me again, mainly because it's very it's basic, I guess. I feel like there could be more complexity to it. I feel like there could be more work in general to this that could really make this work out. Now, the roof isn't bad. However, the shape of it, the smoothness of it could be worked on a little bit. So anyway, what I said, this tower could use some revision. The roof could use some change, whether it be smoothing it more or changing the style of it, meaning cone, more of a Nordic. I don't know. There's lots of possibilities. Windows are where the windows are. Goodness gracious. Gotta love a good timeout. Anyways, this here, I just feel like it could use a lot of work, and basically I say add in more details and warp Ducon meta for ideas on what he could add as far as metadata to the sides of his tower. I feel like there could be a lot more fence pieces, gates, etc. Anyway, moving on. This roof could use more variation. Try working on variating all your flat roofs. That just goes back to that sign over there. The style in general really needs a lot of revising, and having a lot of flat roofs is really off-putting, and I think that's something he's really working on over here, is he's really trying to add on. Now, when I review a plot like this, it's not completely expected that you redo the plot itself. Now, if you try, because something like this, there's a lot to be done. For example, I have a lot of general stuff on here, and basically all of this stuff is all exterior suggestions. The interior also needs a lot of work, but we'll get to that later. This, I already said that, goodness. All right, so I think we touched base on all of this stuff. We touched base on that. Now this is the very general. I always have one, like the longest one of my pillars always is the general idea of what I think about the plot. So let's go ahead and read this. Overall, the plot has a nice concept to it, but needs a lot of work for architect. Keep putting your full effort into it and you will surely get there. The primary issue is the build lacks details. Work on detailing your structures. Work on your detailing. Your structures need a lot of revision. Also streets, the castle, etc. Once you work more on details, atmosphere will really start coming together more clearly. Also, style needs a good bit of work. The flat roofs are not ideal. Try steeping the roofs more and more adding. My goodness. This is terrible grammar. More variations. Lastly, purpose. You have some neat things to indicate purpose, but try adding more of an observable story as well. Try showing something is going on, who lives here and why, what goes on, etc. Create an immersive, bustling atmosphere. Again, details tie into this factor as well. Good job so far. Looking forward to seeing more work done. That is basically the general idea of what I think about the plot, and basically would give them a whole overview of all these signs. And the main thing is details. Now, any more of a what I consider this is a very basic style. This is something that you would see first coming in, not first coming in, but this is something that you know, I mean, I consider this a beginner's, you know, a style, not a beginner style, but an average style, I guess. And that is the idea behind Raven, is when we do this, we want to help you. Like, you don't have to build this way. If you don't want to build this way, you know, maybe Raven is not for you. When we review this way, we're talking specifically Raven standards and Raven building techniques, and you know, it's not for everybody, and I know that. So if that's not something you want to do, then maybe Raven isn't for you. But you know, it's our duty to put what we think and give a general idea on what we think, how it could be changed to become Raven standards. So maybe build a small wall around the water here and on the creek to help prevent flooding. I feel that whenever you're building a water source anywhere near some kind of civilized place, you want to try to always make sure that this water is below the level of the main area of the land. Otherwise, this is going to chronically flood this entire town area, because any amount of flooding, especially this canal over here, because I guarantee you there would be a flood season, but any amount of flooding would absolutely decimate this city, and they would have to figure out a way to divert or work on the water source. That's something we really want you to work on, is back to the realism factor. Now again, he's working on it over here. As you see, it's much more, the terrain's much more elevated and variated. So that's an interesting, cool idea there that I want you guys to look at. So anyways, let's move on. And the next feature here is we're going to be working on this church. There's a good bit here that needs to be done concerning the church. First of being, the palette is very gray. I added on this green stone here just as an idea. Now, my idea is this is just really gray. It's just two different colors. It's gray, and then it has the brownish, reddish brownish bricks on the roof, and then it has this logs there, which I really don't think fit. Again, this is what I also consider a very old Minecraft technique. This is past. Well, not past. There's some areas, you know, house skeletons and such, but when it's not for Raven standards, I would consider it not acceptable for Raven's quality standards anymore, because it's not very realistic. Now, it depends on your wall, but this kind of wall is supposed to be mainly stone, and it's just a style of the wall. It doesn't fit. I feel like there could be a way that you could fit in the this kind of thing for the walls, but I just realized that was a gate. Interesting. Yeah, his gates could use a lot more detail. It looks like a solid, yeah. Anyways, we're not gonna go on that. But anyway, there could be a lot more detail there, and the wall definitely could be a lot better. But anyway, what I say to help him is this wall, in my opinion, requires a lot of revision. The wood support structure is unrealistic. The oak flooring doesn't seem to fit in, and the style in general is a bit bland. Try warp walls and look around at what I have done. That will hopefully inspire you to revise. Now, warp walls is old, so I'm thinking about doing another set of walls because we have a whole lot of new stones that I could use to revise things, so I might do that. So anyway, back to this. So yeah, going back to textures, it's very kind of bland, and I feel like he could use a lot more variation of materials, and it could make it work more. And also, we're going to touch on, there's a lot of I need to touch on this, but also this here, currently has no purpose. It's just this roof extension. Now, if he had blown out this part of the roof here, all of that, and made it open to underneath, that would have worked a lot better. But right now, there's really no purpose to it. So what I say is make use for this roof extension. Maybe just open up the roof inside for extra lighting in the chapel. Yeah, and I just feel like, you know, that could really use some, I mean, it looks pretty good. I like the idea, but it just could use some work. So anyway, we're going to go down to here. Also, I'm not a big fan of how this is done. The water would collect from the roof into here, into these little vats, and there's no way for them to get out. Maybe there is on the end of the plot or something, but I feel like this part of the roof should go up some and should sort of connect to this one. Maybe it should just be that tall all the way across, and then it should be open air all the way across. I don't know, but I just think that might be a good idea, and maybe something that he should consider. But anyway, I maybe try raising this roof a bit up and steep it more. So yeah, pretty general. Also, make sure that there's always an access to everything on your plot, including towers like this that don't seem to have any use, but there should always be an access everywhere. Even I would even argue to even like roofs of houses, there should be access. It doesn't matter, depending on how big the house is. Like if it's a huge tavern or something or like a castle that's really tall up, you know, you really want to try to keep access to everywhere, because that just adds in the immersion and also adds the realism, which is very important because people love to explore your builds. And yeah, so anyway, moving on. So I also say here to try to work on the detailing here. This seems very spammy. I feel like he could organize the detail a good bit more. And that's just in general. Anywhere, it just seems a little spammy. Also, this in here, which is a graveyard, is very repetitive. And I say to go warp arc. And that is where I have a lot of designs / warp arc. And that down there at the left. when you come to the Raven.org server, warp there and check it out. But I have a bunch of grave designs at Warp Arc. I would suggest trying to variate your designs and work on making them more exciting. I feel like there could be a lot more variation to these graves and make this graveyard a lot more exciting. Plus texturing, I feel like there could be a lot more done there. And sorry for all these noises. But anyway, also this here, I know this is a system to put a coffin into the ground, but I feel like this could have a lot of revision because it's just really bulky. It's really big for a system, and I feel like there could be a lot done with that. But interesting. I don't know why there's a skull there. I'm confused. Anyways, also there's a tunnel down here. I'm not going to go in there because it's really not, there's nothing down there. But basically, I go along the lines is this whole underground tunnel is very plain. Try adding more details and maybe less leaves. There's a whole lot of leaves down there. Also, this is very bland. I feel like that could use a lot of work. This wall is very bland. Also, try not to use cobblestone for roofs. Basically, a repeat of what I've said over there. And so basically, a lot of things are repeating here. But now we're getting to the fort here, and there's going to be a lot of different things here. Again, I suggest to change this tower because I feel like the balcony doesn't really fit in very well. Because it just seems to, the skirt of it just seems a bit too much, I would say. I feel like he should just take the balcony out and just broaden the tower out to the main base, and then I feel like there could be it could work pretty well. But try working on this tower some. Looks a bit off at the moment. Maybe try working on the balcony design. It's pretty general. So coming through here, it's a pretty interesting atmosphere. However, I would argue too many lilacs and rose bushes. Again, very spammy and a rather general detail. I feel that there could be more done with it. But then again, it looks like he has I think this is a garden. I think he's going for the beauty, but I feel even in that case, I feel that there could be a more organized detail environment. Plus, the street here could be more dirt to indicate more of a traveled environment. So I have a good many things in here. I touched on the gates. I feel like there could be a lot more detail to them. I say Warp Castle for ideas for that. Also, the palette for the castle. I feel like there could be a lot more done with the palette. I feel like it's really kind of the same thing. It's not bad. I won't say it's bad. It's not bad. But I just feel like the detailing, the textures could be organized better and could work a lot better. So the stone at the foundation of this fort could use more dark stones to indicate wet and muddy, and then more of a middle texture and even a top lighter texture. There's lots of possibilities. Also, I suggest to open up this courtyard a lot more because it just seems very, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just, I don't feel like the market stalls work in this area because I feel like this should be more open, seeing that this is the kind of staging grounds for the castle. This is where people would sort of wait to get into the castle, or I don't know. There's lots of different things. Maybe a little bit of storage up against the wall. There's lots of possibilities there, but I feel like this isn't the best place for market stalls. Maybe try making this more muddy and open with some storage up against the wall and such. Also add more defensive features. Again, Warp Castle for ideas. Warp Castle will take you to my 3 castles, and that'll give you hopefully some ideas to work on that. Now I'm gonna have another castle there soon. I'm just gonna copy and paste it from my other world. But anyways, try steering away from using this oak floor texture for your walls. Also try adding more details. This oak texture, in my opinion, is just a way to steer away from detailing the top of the walls because it's a half slab, and so I feel like he could use a lot more. He could work on that. Also, maybe if he covered that, because this looks like a place where the wall would be covered between the 2 towers, and maybe that would work out. I don't know, but it's all up to him. It's all his choice, and yeah, it'd be pretty interesting. So yeah, so let's keep moving on. Let's go around to here and check out this archery range back here. Now, I like the archery range. It's a pretty interesting design. I feel like it could be longer, if anything. The only thing that I would suggest back here is there's too much grass, and it's really kind of plain as far as the terraform is concerned. So what I suggested is try working on your terrain around the range. Plain grass doesn't seem to work. I feel like that could really use some work. The stables look pretty good. I like that. However, the hay floor like that is a bit much, I think. I feel like he could just make it into a mix of dirt and gravel and then put some yellow carpet down to indicate the hay. Maybe a couple hay blocks back there, but overall, I think that the design back there is pretty interesting. So, pretty cool. So, this fort in general could use a lot more details and features. Try Warp Castle and maybe find some ideas. That's very typical of me to say Warp Castle. Details. Try adding more details. That's very general. But we're gonna go ahead and look through the interior and kind of give some critique in that. Oh, I need to look at the chapel. I forgot to show you something in there. Your interiors need a lot of work. Try Warp Arc and look through Velocity's interior designs, plots adjacent. Also, Warp Castle for ideas. There's a Warp Castle again. Certain features in your interiors. Also, every bit of your plot should be detailed, and it seems like he forgot this part back here besides a little bit of a tree there. But I just say don't forget this corner. Now, also this roof here I feel is really flat. However, I can let that slide, I guess. But I feel like there could be a lot more variation to it. The top of this tower could use more variation. The roof is a bit flat. So, anyways, yeah, cool. So let's go ahead and go into the chapel over here, and I want to show you what I kind of mean when I say that this is a little off. The pulpit is at the main entrance, and that doesn't make sense to me because the pulpit should always be on the opposite side of the main entrance because that would be very disruptive, having people walk by you all the time, especially latecomers. So anyways, also this is the skylight that I was kind of saying. I pushed through this and kind of showed, demonstrated that this should be open here. And there also should be pillars coming down to hold up that whole area up there. Try to always keep your architecture supported. Not everyone does it, but I feel like it's a very important way to, because typically the more realistic that you try to go to, or the more realistic you try to be, the more chance you have for meeting the Raven quality standards, because we really like to see that realism factor. Even in fantasy, that's a whole nother video for me to explain that, but fantasy is realism. You know, as long as it's a realistic fantasy, we like it. So like there's people like Nanhassel that makes a lot of fantasy, but he tries to keep around the realistic side as far as making it look nice and also making it structurally supported and such like that. Stuff like that is really interesting, and we don't mind that very much. But as long as if it's like really awkward looking and it just doesn't seem to work, then yeah, we don't like that so much. So the layout of this room is not logical. The pulpit should be at the opposite side, and the roof extension above should have pillars to support it. So yeah, very general there. Cool beans. And it's just the interiors in general. I haven't really touched on any of the interiors because I just wanted to touch on the exteriors of this. But coming into here, I just feel like it really catches you off guard because you expect more. Coming into here is not so bad. I feel like this is a pretty interesting way of doing this, but I feel like maybe this should have been kind of, honestly, I don't know what he could have put on the walls, but I feel like this could have been done a lot better. Like my throne room at Wolffang, I feel like that could be a good inspiration. Also having the kitchen same room as your dining room, I haven't seen that before in a kitchen. I mean, I guess it could be done, but it's more efficient to have a kitchen by itself because this would be a very noisy and annoying thing to be by because there'd be a lot of pots and pans banging around and lots of people running and rushing back and forth. Also, the kitchen would be probably the biggest operation in the castle because that is where everyone depends on. Yes, so kitchen should have a room by itself, and the dining room is not too bad. Could really use a lot more detail and a lot better, maybe some better designing. But yeah, it's pretty good for now. Is there anything back behind this? No, there's not. So, but anyway, there could be some more things behind that. And I think he just kind of spammed paintings around. That's another thing we don't want you to do, is don't spam things. Don't rush. I feel like he really rushed this. I think that's the main problem, is the plot is really rushed. And yeah, definitely do not rush your build, please. Okay, moving on. So I'm not going to go in the interior anymore. I'm just going to say that's a finished review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and have learned something, hopefully. And I know it was a long video, but I hope that it helps somebody out there. And whoever has watched this all the way through, maybe you are a prospective Ravender and you're looking into what we expect as far as building standards are concerned. But yes, this is what I would consider a proper review. Again, like I said, it's not completely finished, but it is pretty thorough as far as getting the main things pointed out. So yeah, cool beans. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate this community. I'm so excited for our future. I really wanted to redo this video because the other one was a bit bland, I guess, and really could use a little bit more spicing up, I guess. But yeah, so thank you again, guys, for watching. I know I said that before, but I really appreciate each one of you. This community is awesome. You know, I've really come to love just the comments below. That's something that's really important to me. Seeing what you guys think. I read through every one of your comments, and I try to reply to every one of your comments. I'm sure some of you have noticed that. I try to be very active with my YouTube community, and that is a very important thing, I'm sure. But anyway, enough of me rambling. I just want to say a big thank you to all of you. You guys are just this big group of awesome people. I just want to give you a big hug and squeeze y'all. But don't take that wrong. Anyway, I just want to give you guys a big hug, big virtual hug. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for all you are, and really, really, really excited for our future. So, yeah. Don't forget that I have a Facebook and a Twitter. Those links are down below in my description. You can check me out. Stay connected with me. I have a lot of, I try to keep you guys updated. I'm mostly on Twitter. I do keep Facebook updated quite a bit too, but my main source of updating and staying connected is on Twitter. So if you guys don't have Twitter, I would suggest you get Twitter. It's not that hard. It's quite easy, actually, and it's quite interesting. I was very skeptical to Twitter before I got it, but anyway, I got it now. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Till then, bye-bye.